How's it going, everyone? My name is DrapPep. Welcome back to another installment of this series. So, roughly around, I'm going to say 8th grade, I wanted to do animation. The school I was going to had a class for 3D animation, and I decided I wanted to take that. Taking 3D animation was possibly one of the most funnest classes I've ever taken. And something I learned really fast when you take 3D animation, you're going to do a lot of drawing, a lot of drawing, a lot of animation. That was something I probably should have thought of before taking that class. There was so much drawing. Now, of course, in this class, we had the programs to do 3D animation, but as it turned out, no one in the classroom knew how to do animation at all. So the entire class was just teaching us how to do basic animation. And Jesus, that took so long. You don't actually have an appreciation for animation until you start doing it, until you actually start making animation yourself. You see, it's animating every scene, you have to take in consideration each single frame. There's a numerous amount of frames that go into just each second of animation that you have to animate every single frame that goes into it, which means if you're the only one doing your own animation, you have to draw each individual frame yourself. I've literally had done an animation that took 250 frames to do. That's 250 pieces of paper that I drew on. Paper. Not like on the computer or on a tablet. No. I had to sit there with a light box and draw on top of 250 pieces of paper for animation. Here's another thing I discovered pretty quickly. When you want to start doing animation, you should probably make sure you're good at art. Yeah, I am not good at art. I realized how bad I was at art when I start animating, and I start realizing that every frame that I was drawing on was not as good as the last one, but worse. So it would start off looking okay, and by the time the animation had finished, it would just deteriorate. It was so bad. There was this one assignment we had to do where we had to draw a person we liked and a person we disliked. And we had to put them on the wall. And the idea was that when you draw characters that you like, you put more attention to detail. And when you draw a character that you have no interest in, you're going to pay less attention to it. So that was the lesson. Here's what's fun. I suck at art. So when they saw both of my drawings, they thought whoever drew both of those must hate them because they were drawn ugly. Um, Nothing like being called out in front of the entire class that your artwork sucks that much. So when they were like, okay, whose drawing was this? Because everyone's like, oh, whoever drew this, they clearly hate that person. Whoever drew this one also hates that person. I'm like, okay, so who drew this one? Oh, that's me. Did you hate them? Yeah, I don't like this person. Like, okay, well, you guys got it. And then when it came to the other drawing, okay, who drew this one? I drew that one. Well, the assignment was to draw the person you like and the person you don't like. I'm like, I like this person. Why'd you draw him like that? That's that's how I draw. I could see in the teacher's head, like in their eyes, I could see the gears moving. They're like, "Uh oh, this person does not have any talent with art. Oh no, this is gonna be a hard person to teach art too." And yeah, I I think I had passed that class mostly because my participation. Like, I did the assignment. I did the thing they needed me to do. It's not like I failed the class. Like, sure, my artwork is trash and my animation is just a dumpster fire, but like, I did it. Here it is. It did the thing you wanted it to do. I do have to say, after 3D animation, my art got a little better by a smidge. And then afterwards, I actually ended up taking a whole bunch of like art classes afterwards. I spent a good amount of time doing like pastels and like sketches and oil paintings. I really like doing oil painting classes. Um, I think I was the only person in that class that actually enjoyed doing the oil paintings. A lot of the other people were kind of in there because they needed to. I actually wanted to be there because I really loved art. Here's the thing though, my art teachers, besides one or two of them, the rest of them, because I had a lot of art teachers, were really mean. They were really mean. They would see my artwork and they're like, nah, no, this is trash. You gotta redo it. I'm like, but I tried really hard. No, no, this is awful. And honest to God, I think I had like seven mean art teachers and two really cool ones. And hearing that your art sucks, I literally had a teacher to my face tell me that I should not proceed in any kind of career in doing artwork. And when you have like seven art teachers all collectively tell you your artwork is bad, of course you're going to stop doing artwork. Of course that's not going to be something you're going to stick to. I didn't. I stopped doing art for a very long time. Only recently did I get back into doing art and sketching. And I had friends who saw my artwork and they're like, "Whoa, you can do that? That's really good." Well, yeah, I know what I'm kind of doing. It's just all of my art teachers say I suck. And God bless their soul. They're just kind of like, well, they don't know what they were talking about. A lot of times with art teachers, they're seeking out perfection and they know what's good. But like, in their defense, I mean, yeah, I was bad at art. I really was. I still am. I don't think my artwork's good. I think there's a lot of room to be improved. The stuff that I choose to create are things that anyone can create. They're very easy drawings. They're cartoony and like, for example, Pokemon drawing that is super easy. The art style is very non-complex. Anyone can draw Pokemon. If you took the time. But if you told me to like sketch a real person, no. Even if it was an animated person, no, I would not be able to. The hands would get all freaky looking. The eyes would be all misshaped. No, I would be horrible at it. But I'm willing to try. There's a lot of art that I still want to create, not because I'm trying to get perfection out of it, but because art is honestly one of the coolest things to do. It's so relaxing, and to be creative like that is honestly true freedom. But animation? Oh my god. I've seen a lot of people who make contents where they animate themselves and like, Jesus. Like, I understand what goes into animation, and that is maddening to think of, like, making videos where you animate everything for yourself. I have a lot of respect for the animation community, for people who make content, because that's a lot of work. It really is. You have to love art. You can't just be like, oh, I think I'm going to dabble in animation. You don't understand how many frames you're going to have to animate to do that. Oh my god, there's so many. There's so many frames to draw. And to see somebody create content where they animate themselves is just, like I said, if you took the class, if you dabbled in animation at all, you definitely would have a higher appreciation for people who do animate for a living, because again, that is a ridiculous amount of work, especially when they have to time crunch like they do. The animation industry, when they have someone try to work for them, they pressure you to try to get it done as quickly as you can, and there's a lot of high stakes involved with that. There's a lot of people who become miserable due to the animation industry, trying to get them to cram everything that they can as much as they can. And that sucks. The animation industry sucks. And I think that people who animate are talented. Trust me, try it. Just dabble a little bit in animation and you'll see what I mean. It is mind numbing. But it's also something I know I can't do. It's something I cannot. I've tried it. I did. I've done a lot of art, and like, to become a full-time animator, no. No, no, no. That is not for me. That I would go crazy trying to be an animator. I just did a year of animation just for class, and that was too much. No, thank you. But that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.